Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy. Excuse me. It is the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your October general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. And from my background, yes, I am back in my more or less home base in the United States after being in Europe for a couple of weeks. As always, thank you for those of you who continue to watch, listen, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Your support and feedback and comments mean a lot to me. Thank you so very much. And for continuing to keep me so busy always with personal one-on-one readings. Thank you for those of you who continue to reach out, and to my regular clients as well. And if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can click on the About or Description button on my YouTube channel's homepage, which will have a little more information, and my email address, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. That's MAGGIE, the number 1, MCGUIRE@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I do a wide variety of readings: love and romance, career, work, and finance. I do year overviews, health readings, and channeled messages from loved ones, as well as specialized clearings as well. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week, so turnaround time is usually pretty quick. We can almost always schedule a reading with you within a 1 to 3 week period of time, with my getting back with you within a day from initial contact. So email me and we'll schedule something for you and go from there. Okay, so moving right along, this reading is for Libra for the month of October 2017. We're looking at the entire month from the beginning of the month, even though I am recording these in the last week of September. So we are going to be doing the usual 2 cards per week, with an additional 9th card from the bottom of the deck as your crowning card, representing overall energy and advice for the reading. Please make sure to remember that these are general readings, and there's many of you watching, which is why we always advise you to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well. If this is your primary sun sign, it may or may not resonate as predictively for you as some readings, and sometimes your rising and your moon sign as well. So try to watch all 3. It also gives you just additional insight and clarification into what's going on in your life at the time. Okay, Libra, we begin with the 3 of Pentacles, followed by the 10 of Wands. We have the 10 of Cups, followed by the Ace of Cups. We have the Magician, followed by the Tower. And we have the 5 of Swords, followed by the World. And from the bottom of the deck, as overall energy and guidance, we have the 2 of Swords. This is an interesting reading, Libra, and a pretty powerful one as well. You have 3 major arcana cards. You have the Magician, the Tower, and the World. Pretty powerful. I mean, all major arcana cards are powerful anyway. All of the tarot cards are powerful. Major arcana cards we call major because, you know, they do represent energies of God's spirit, your angels and guides, the universe, if you will. Even considering that, these are powerful cards of self-manifestation and change as well. So we begin with the 3 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Wands. So earth energy with pentacles here, which usually manifests in the earthly concrete part of our lives, things like money, finances, resources, job, etc. The 3 of Pentacles is a card of, it's sometimes referred to as the artisan card. It's a card of taking pride in something that you build, taking pride in what you do, what you create. It's also a card of compromise and negotiation, primarily teamwork. It's a card of being good at what you do, although it can also be represent an apprenticeship time as well. But it's a card of working together for the greater good, working towards a common goal, or working to create something as well. Now, it's paired with the 10 of Wands. Wands is fire energy. And wands can often point to career, creative, or artistic endeavors because it's fire energy. It's building, creating, manifesting energy. But of course, as with all the cards in the tarot deck, you can apply this same energy to any area of your life. I mean, for some of you, this may resonate in the love relationship area of your life, for others in work and career, for others in spiritual or projects as well. Tens in the tarot usually represent a cycle coming to an end or needing to come to an end, something coming to a sense of closure or completion or culmination. The Ten of Wands is a card of carrying a heavy burden. It can be a card of feeling overwhelmed as well. It's a card of, for some of you, the combined energy of the Three of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands could mean that you've been working on something for quite some time, maybe sacrificing for quite some time with somebody, and I say that, or somebody's, or a group of people as well, for those of you for whom this may not resonate so much as a relationship reading. The Ten of Wands can represent that this is coming to an end or coming to a completion. Something that you've been working on. I feel like for a lot of you, it's something that you've been working on for quite a long time. This could also be a relationship. For some of you, this is perhaps a marriage or a long-term partnership of some kind. You've been working, I keep getting sacrificing to the word sacrificing. You and perhaps somebody else have been working and sacrificing, even saving for quite a long time for something. Some of you may be at a point where you're really tired. I feel like for a small portion of you, that for whom, some of you, this is going to resonate as a relationship reading, others not so much. For those of you for whom this may resonate as a relationship reading, even under that umbrella, there's an even smaller portion of you that you may be in a long-term relationship or marriage. Some of you, this could be a job or career path. And it feels like you've been putting your needs behind other people's. You've been putting your needs behind your partners. You've been putting your needs behind or sacrificing perhaps time, money, indulgences of your own because of a bigger goal that you've been working on, or just putting other people's needs in front of you. And it may be that you're at a place where you're feeling tired of doing that as well. Now, next we have the Ten of Cups, followed by the Ace of Cups. This is a beautiful combination of energy. Cups is water, and this is the water energy. The Suit of Cups usually reflects in the emotional, feeling, relationship area of our life. Tens, again, you have another 10 here, and I have to say you have two tens. You have the Tower, you have the World. These are all cards that in one way or another have to do with things coming to an end or coming to a completion phase, moving on to something else as well. So the Ten of Cups can represent being at a place where you feel almost totally emotionally satisfied. This is a card that's sometimes referred to as a happily ever after card, the happy home card. It can represent marriage, home blessings, the addition of a child. It's a 10 too, so it can also represent completion in this area of your life. For some of you, it could be, some of you, this could be, like the last child leaving the nest, maybe leaving for college, maybe some of this sense of having put somebody else's needs, putting your family's needs in front of you, your children's needs in front of you for a long time. Some of you, the last child is leaving the nest. You've worked and sacrificed and waited and been patient for so long. The last child is leaving. You're putting them through school as well, or perhaps they're completing that. For some of you, it has to do with the actual home itself. Some of you may be making the last or one of the last payments on your house. Some of you may be retiring. This could be completion energy in a wide variety of areas in your life. I mean, as you know, from following me and following other readers, general readings can be somewhat tricky sometimes because there's so many of you watching. But what I always say is, regardless of how the specifics relate detail-wise in your life, like for some of you, this might be relationship. For some of you, it might be about your house, your home, your kids, your job, your career. The energy fundamentally remains the same. There is a strong Libra, a strong sense of completion, or something coming to an end, or to a cycling down to a completion, a culmination, an achievement phase in your life, whether that's within a relationship itself, whether that's, the last child kind of getting ready to leave home, retirement, maybe paying off a home, maybe you're considering selling it, or you're just, you're going to own you're going to be able to burn that mortgage. However it resonates specifically in your life, the energy remains the same. Something is coming to an end, and that something represents a long period of sacrificing, saving, working, waiting, investing a lot into it for the greater good. And for a lot of you, this has meant putting maybe what you want and your indulgences, on a back shelf for a while for this purpose, for this greater good. And it's kind of coming to a close in the month of October 2017. Now that 10 of Cups is paired with the Ace of Cups. So this is a beautiful, beautiful card. This is, for some of you for whom this is going to relate as a relationship reading, or resonate in the relationship area of your life, and there are all different kinds of relationships. The Ace of Cups can represent that kind of love you have for someone else, whether it's your mate or whether it's your child. The Ace of Cups can represent that true love. I'm not talking about that Hollywood ending, necessarily violence going off in the background, but I mean that kind of deep, true, unconditional love where you would actually, die for the other person. Not that you really want to, but just a true, deep, unconditional, sacrificing for the other person kind of love. For some of you, aces also represent new beginnings and opportunities as well. And the Ace of Cups is one of the cards that can point to new love and new relationships. So some of you may be experiencing that within the month of October as well, or renewal, a sense of renewal within an already established relationship, particularly if some of you are perhaps retiring or getting close to retiring, or the last child is leaving the nest. It may affect your primary relationship or marriage in such a way that all of a sudden you may find a rekindling or an opportunity to rekindle some closeness and some sparks within the relationship, simply because you have more space and time to be together. Some of you, what may be coming to an end is maybe perhaps a time of being alone, or of walking alone. Some of you may be getting married in the month of October, or making plans to get married, or getting engaged in the month of October as well. The Ace of Cups, for those of you for whom it does represent new love, new relationships, new emotional awakenings. And I feel like that's true for some of you, but I feel like maybe even perhaps for a larger part of you, this isn't necessarily new love and romance. Again, it's something that you've been working for and sacrificing for a long time. It feels like October is when you're actually, that's coming to an end, but you're actually kind of seeing the results of that, and it's a really beautiful feeling. That 10 of Cups is also about being at that place where you feel everything's finally come together. You're actually seeing the fruits of your labors, the results of all your hard work and sacrifice. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Now, next to that, we have the Magician and the Tower. And these next four cards, which basically kind of represent the last half of October 2017, time being somewhat fluid, as I always say, it kind of looks like, if you were going to take it specifically chronologically, although I don't believe time is quite so fluid as 24-hour spans of time, although it can be. It's as if the first half of October, you're kind of seeing this, feeling this kind of sense of completion or culmination, perhaps making plans around it, or, the final flurry of things coming together. And then the last half of the month is kind of like, okay, well, what now? Where do we go from here? What do I do now? And what can I do? What are my options? The Magician and the Tower is a powerful combination of two major arcana cards. But it's going to mean different things depending on who you are watching this and what's going on in your life, of course. The Magician is a very powerful, somewhat independent card, and this is about taking everything that you know, the tools, your experience, your wisdom, and your knowledge, and having all the tools and knowing it at your disposal, and the experience and knowledge and expertise with which to use them, and exercising those along with your will, your perseverance, your focus, your intention externally, an external way to create, build, and manifest something on an external level. It's a very powerful independent card because that's who the magician is. He's worked long and hard at his craft of being able to create and build for his audience, and he's reached a point where he has everything that he needs to build, create, manifest whatever he wants to, or appear that he does, with very little, if any, help from anybody else. In fact, if the magician has a challenge as an individual, it would be sometimes a difficulty in working with other people because he has his own way of doing things, because that's how he's always been doing them, and he pretty much likes to kind of go his own way. Now, the magician is paired with the Tower. I know the Tower card makes a lot of people kind of clench up, just like death or transformation. They're similar cards. They represent outside forces coming in and affecting a change or having an impact, a large impact in our life. And of course, we have no control over that happening, only in what we choose to do about it, or how we choose to react to it. Death is more about external forces coming in and kind of changing things externally, which also can affect us on an internal level. But death or transformation is, I've always kind of felt it's more about something which comes in and really beyond our control, kind of changes things in an external way, and we're left to try and figure out how to deal with that and what lessons and value to pull from that. The Tower card also represents, energies of God, spirit, your angels, and guides coming in and affecting major change in our life. But I feel like the Tower card has more of an internal impact too, because the Tower card can represent events or things that happen which are real game changers on an internal level. They shake up our belief systems, the way that we look at something. And sometimes the Tower card can represent events that result in the destruction or removal of something in our life that we may have really thought was solid and secure, or a set of beliefs that we really were pretty foundational or fundamental to us, and something comes in and changes that, or really shakes us up, or makes us really question how we look at something or a set of beliefs. And this can be in a positive or negative way, even though I don't like to put labels positive or negative in terms of the cards, because I think how we view them is actually a matter of perspective. Even the Tower card, when it represents the destruction or removal of something in our lives that we're attached to, it's almost always because that thing needs to go, and something truly solid and stable and foundational can be built in its place. But that usually comes from hindsight, after being down the road from it a little bit and looking back and going, that was really a good thing that happened. So the magician paired with the Tower, what does that really mean? Well, for some of you, this is going to represent that perhaps there's an event which has happened to you recently, or might be happening within the month of October, though I don't really feel like it's some major catastrophic thing. But it could be that something has happened to you recently, or happened to your relationship, a marriage, your home, your family, something which has been quite large, something which has kind of come in and kind of rocked your world, so to speak, and made you change or shift the way that you look at something, or foundational belief that you've had, and maybe a way you live your life, or yourself, or your relationship, or how you look at life in itself. Paired with the magician, some of you, this is going to represent using an event like this, being able to use an event like this to your advantage. Some of you may be able to, some of you, this represents an event happening because something is coming to an end, something is coming to a completion phase. Some of you, this combination of the magician and the Tower, some of you may be looking at it, or tempted to look at it, as something more negative than positive, something which is changed your life. Even those of you, maybe your last child is leaving the nest or something, or you're retiring, or you could be getting married. I mean, again, it's a general reading. There's thousands of you watching, so what it actually means and what area of your life is going to differ, but the energy fundamentally remains the same. You have everything that you need, all the tools, the skills, the knowledge, the expertise to make whatever this game changer is work to your advantage. You also have the ability to, for some of you, to change the way that you look at this, to change your perspective on where you're going to go from here on out. Some of you, a smaller portion of you, less than half, maybe even a quarter or less than a quarter. Some of you, you may be feeling overwhelmed in something that you feel you've been sacrificing working in. It could be a marriage, a long-term relationship. It could be a job or career path as well. Your overall energy is the Two of Swords, which represents needing to make a choice, but being kind of reluctant to it, needing to choose a path, needing to figure out where to go from here, but being reluctant. Some of you may be wanting a change. You may be considering bringing something to an end, but you feel like if you do that, you're going to be causing a catastrophic set of events, maybe in your life, in somebody else's life. This combination of energy, the Magician and the Tower Spirit, is telling you you have the ability to kind of make this whatever you want. If this is something that you need to bring to an end because you feel like you've been, working so long, sacrificing so much that it's time that you maybe set some boundaries and draw a line in the sand, you have the ability to, if you're afraid of blowing the world up, you have the ability to do this in a way that's not going to be, Armageddon for everyone involved. You have the ability to kind of create and manifest this in whatever way that you want to. Some of you, I'm getting, this is kind of Phoenix rising from the ashes energy. Whatever the Tower event is, this is something that's happened in your life in the past. I'm going to say recent past, although for some of you it may be recent in terms of during the last year or two. It's kind of as if out of the ashes you have rebuilt yourself, rebuilt perhaps home and family as well. For others of you, this is you may be contemplating bringing something to an end, and you have some fears and concerns about that as well, on how that happens. And I think because of the length of time that you've been putting into whatever this is, be it a job or a long-term relationship or marriage or project or even home of some kind, I think for some of you there's some fears and concerns about how it comes to an end and what to do next, regardless of whether you're moving forward alone, moving forward with someone else, or just contemplating what to do with the rest of your life because, there's no more kids in the house, or you're retiring or something like that. Now, at or towards the end of October 2017, we have the Five of Swords paired with the World. Another powerful combination of cards, but cautionary advice for some of you. So for those of you who are considering bringing a long-term relationship or marriage to an end, or a project where there's other people working with you that have been investing and sacrificing right alongside with you, some of you may be questioning whether or not to bring something to an end in a way that benefits only you, just because you're tired and overwhelmed and maybe just need a break. But the Five of Swords can be a card. This is air energy. Swords is about what goes on up in our heads, how we look at things, belief systems, and how we communicate those as well. It's a card about our intellect and our intellectual energy. The Five of Swords is a card of technically a victory, and I say technically because even though this man has just finished a battle or challenge or fight of some kind, and he's obviously the victor, you can see his opponents or foes are defeated on the ground behind him. He's gathered up all their weapons, all their ability to hurt him, and he's holding his own in victory, his own sword aloft in victory. But it's still kind of a grim, almost bleak picture. He looks tired, worn out, exhausted. He's bleeding from a cut on his forehead. Even though he's come out the victor, this battle has obviously cost him a lot. And the question which often accompanies the Five of Swords is, has it been worth it? Is it worth it? Is this battle worth continuing? Sometimes that answer is yes, and sometimes it's no. It's just up to you and how you feel. Sometimes it represents that victory will come at the cost of personal relationships. And again, sometimes that means that it's worth it, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes the Five of Swords can represent um, selfishness that's negative, doing things, taking actions in a way that benefits you, but it comes at the cost of other people, which is not a good thing. And of course, karmically, it's not a good thing as well. Sometimes it represents, standing up for yourself, needing to stand up for yourself, even if that comes at the cost of other relationships. And again, it's kind of a sticky energy kind of card, because in both of those scenarios I just described, regardless of what Libra you are, if that fits for you, sometimes we do need to stand up for ourselves, and it will cost us relationships, but it's what we need to do to stay true to ourselves. And sometimes this card can reflect, taking care of ourselves, but putting ourselves first in a way that's harmful to other people in a negative, karmically bad sort of way. And the question is to just carefully examine the situation that you're in, particularly if you're trying to make a decision to end something. Am I doing this for myself? And if I am doing it for myself, am I doing it because it's the best thing for me, because it's really coming from a sense of self-love and care? Or am I just being kind of selfish because I may be feeling tired and worn out and exhausted, and I maybe just need to take a break and kind of get my head clear a bit before making any major decisions? So for those of you for whom that means something, and it must, because I feel compelled to say it, so somebody out there needs to hear it, just kind of carefully consider before you make any major changes or decisions, especially any game changer, tower energy kind of decisions for the month of October. You may want to hold off until November, particularly if you're feeling tired and overwhelmed, and find a way to maybe take a break and get a fresh perspective, and then come back and re-examine this. For others of you for whom this is just your whatever you're involved in, whatever you've been working, sacrificing for, either by yourself or with someone else. I think for the majority of you, it's with someone else or for your family or something that falls under that umbrella. It's coming to an end, but in a really beautiful way. It's really cost a lot. It may have taken a lot out of you, but it has really been worth it. And you're actually seeing that. You're beginning to see, experience, and kind of feel that. Those of you who are, maybe sending the last child off to college, or maybe the last child is graduating college, or you're retiring or getting ready to retire, or you're paying off the house. Some of you may be on the younger end of things, and you're just starting this path. You've been working and saving and, building up for a while. You're maybe purchasing your first home, or having a child or baby, getting married, getting engaged, kind of starting on a whole new thing, but it's something that you've been, waiting and working for and investing in somehow. However it reflects in your life, you're seeing the results of it. You're feeling kind of the fruits of it, and going, wow, look at this. This is really worth it all. Because that Five of Swords is paired with the World, which is all of those feelings I just described. The World card, my analogy, it's kind of like, and I know this video is kind of long for you this month, Libra. The World is kind of like being at the top of a mountain. You've reached the top of a mountain, the pinnacle. And there's lots of mountains in life, but this one has been particularly significant to you. The World is about reaching the pinnacle and really feeling it, taking a minute to kind of let it hit you. Wow, I made it. Looking back down at the path of what it took to get you from where you started to now, kind of feeling that, enjoying that lovely, proud, self-empowering in a lovely, positive way, looking at everything you've accomplished, wondering what's next in the road. What next am I able to accomplish? What's the potential? What are my options? It's a beautiful feeling, kind of being on top of the world. Now, your overall energy and guidance, however, is the Two of Swords. So this is a card, it can be a card that represents being stuck. It definitely represents being at a crossroads, needing to make a decision, kind of going back and forth, needing to make a decision, maybe being a little bit reluctant and resistant. The blindfold can represent having something in front of you that needs to be dealt with. A decision, a choice needs to be made, but you're not quite sure what to do. And there's, again, a sense of reluctance or resistance in dealing with it. For some of you, this is going to relate in different ways. For some of you, this is going to be just a mild kind of a more mild version of this. What do I do moving forward? Maybe it's time to start making plans for the next phase of my life, but right now I'm not feeling like I want to. Maybe I just want to kind of revel in the sense of something coming to an end. For others of you, however, that are needing to make decisions about something coming to an end, be it a long-term relationship or marriage, a project, a job or career, because you're feeling worn out and tired. And for some of you, you've been putting yourself last for too long, feeling overwhelmed and wanting to really start over again or wanting to do something different. You may be afraid of causing a big shakeup. You may be afraid of an ending because you think it'll blow your world up. And, you know, it might. I mean, I can't say that it won't. Different things in different people's lives. And there may be a reluctance or resistance to making a decision because of that. But for those of you for whom that makes sense or for whom that resonates for you, there is a message from Spirit here saying, look, you have everything that you need to build and manifest the kind of life that you want, the kind of change that you want. And if you do have to bring something to an end in a way that may have some negative ramifications and consequences, but you need to do it because this is what you need to do to stay true to yourself and to your own path, then you have what it takes to actually try and do it the best way that you see fit and the best way possible for everybody involved. In the end, it's really up to you. We live in a free will zone, of course, but you have everything that you need to create the kind of path going forward that you want. So I'm going to end this here, Libra, because this one's gone on a bit long. Maybe I'm just feeling a bit more settled back here in my home surroundings. But pretty powerful reading, Libra. A lot of you for whom something is coming to a natural end that you've worked really hard for, good for you. And for those of you that are considering and in kind of a choice-making phase, give it some time. I don't necessarily think October may be the right time to make life-changing decisions. It's more about contemplation of that, particularly if you're feeling kind of tired and overwhelmed. You may need to take some time off, kind of rest, recharge, get a different perspective before you go making any major life-changing kind of decisions for you and other people as well. So Libra, thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the October 2017 mid-month readings. Again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you can click on the About or a description button on my YouTube channel's homepage and email me directly at MAGGIE1MCGUIRE@gmail.com. Maggie, McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. So thank you very much for watching. And as always, Libra, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Thanks so much. Take care. I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.